Welcome to this special program about Brian O'Connor. Brian came to the notice of the town during the recent Override event, and he's now running for Selectman. And we thought it would be a good idea to learn a little bit more about Brian before we get into the election campaign. So, Brian, welcome back to WinCam.
Okay, thanks for having me back.
You're welcome.
It's an honor.
You know, we've got time here to talk about quite a few issues, but I thought it'd be nice to start out with something about you as an individual, something about your family, where you live, how long you've been in the town of Winchester, those kind of things. So let's talk about some of the background issues.
Okay. I think the most important thing is I've been married since 1967 to Lynn, and we have 3 beautiful children, Brian, Paige, and Megan, all graduates of the Winchester High School system, and we've lived in town approximately 24 years in the same address, and we've had a great stretch here, and we love the town and we love the people.
Very good. And so your kids went through the school system here?
They all graduated one at a time through the system, and got a tremendous education here in the town of Winchester.
Right, as did mine. I'm very proud of my kids in this town too.
Right.
Were you involved at all in any of the training programs or school programs or anything like that?
On the sports side, I think that I kept involved when the kids were growing up. I was a Little League baseball coach or sandline coach, and a very poor soccer coach, and so on and so forth. But I did enjoy the time with the kids on the field and the other fathers and mothers. I learned a lot about the community spirit in Winchester with that, and it was fun. It wasn't work, and I look back on it now, and it's probably the best times that I've had watching my kids grow up and in the environment they had with the teams and everything else. It was really fantastic.
Great.
Yeah.
Now they're out of the school system. I know you were in business, but what do you do in your spare time? What are you in any clubs or organizations or anything like that?
My son Brian and I, since 1981, believe it or not, since we moved in here, are kind of in the sports memorabilia. We collect old baseball cards.
Really?
Yes, and we
old baseball cards.
Cards and some memorabilia, but he was in the school system and learning a lot of different things. And I noticed one day that he was reading the back of some old baseball cards I had lying around, and I told him stories about different players, and he got interested into it, and we went to a couple of shows and went to this and that, and now it's blossomed, and it's kept us together pretty closely.
And I assume you're still an active baseball fan.
Very active baseball fan. Go to Fenway quite a lot.
Do you? This has been a great year for you, though.
Right. Well, yeah. One of the companies that I represent and own has a box down there, so we're deeply involved.
Where's that located?
Can't tell you. It's a secret. It's a secret box.
Okay. What about your education? Where did you go to school?
Okay. I grew up in New York City and went out to University of Dayton in Ohio. I went out there, played some ball, met Lynn, got married, and Lynn and I drove off to Quantico. All in 1 week, 2 days, I believe. I got married, got signed up with the Marine Corps, and we got in our little car and drove down to Quantico. And from Quantico, I was in the Marine Corps since 67 to 70, and left the Marine Corps, and we got back in that little car and drove to Boston, believe it or not, and joined Procter & Gamble for 2 years.
But just before you get on to Procter & Gamble, you're in the Marine Corps between 1967 and 70. That was the Vietnam era. Right. Were you involved in that at all?
Yes. I had a tour over there for 13 months, from 68 to 69. I was platoon commander for the 1st Battalion, 26th Marines.
So you were 3 years in Vietnam?
No, 13 months.
13 months.
Yeah. It's quite an experience, and Lynn and I again had a lot of friends in the Marine Corps. Still keep in touch with them around the country.
I grew up outside the United States, but it seems to me there's a tremendous kind of cachet that being a part of the Marine Corps brings. That people are very proud of it.
Well, they have this good saying, once a Marine, always a Marine, and
Right.
you don't realize that when you're in the Marine Corps, but when you get out, you're right. There are a lot of people. I do a lot of things with the Marine Corps Scholarship Foundation and Marine Corps golf tournaments and little things. But
Really? Yeah.
do you ever, even the people in Quantico, we keep in touch, and if one of them needs a little help, everybody helps out.
Really?
So.
Yeah.
It does have some validity in what you say, but
Right.
you never really think about it till the time is
You
there.
know, I kind of cut you off. You were starting
Sure.
to talk about, so I think your other work employment. You mentioned
Sure.
Procter and Gamble, I think. So.
Yeah, that was right out of the Marine Corps. As I said, ironically, I got a job with Polaroid here in Boston,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they sent me back to New Jersey, and I started there and stayed with Polaroid for about 26 years, and
26 years with Polaroid. So that
26.
was your major work experience. I
major
guess.
work experience. And I, the highest there, I was, I ran North America sales and marketing, or operations for Polaroid. It was about a 1.2 billion operation.
So working for Polaroid and working in the United States and working overseas, maybe it was giving you a little perspective, perhaps, on the way different organizations work. I don't know whether it has any application to Winchester, but you must have learned something, I would think, in all those years.
Well, I've been fortunate to travel a lot. I think that the way different people in different lands do different stuff. The Chinese have a different way about business than, let's say, the Americans, and even the English and the Australians have their own versions of business.
Different legal systems.
And some non-legal systems. Okay?
I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, right. But yeah, it is interesting to bring it back and to learn from them. I thought a country like New Zealand had a lot of good ideas. I really enjoyed.
Really?
it.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed New Zealand.
Currently, you're no longer with Polaroid. You left them. You're working on startup companies?
Yeah, basically, when I left Polaroid in 1998, I just set out to do something I like to do. Okay, and what my expertise is that a lot of people will come to me with ideas, and I will evaluate the ideas and tell them frankly if it's worth their money or time to put their money against their business idea or venture or whatever it might be. Or I say it's a great idea and find the right people who I know through my business experience to help them out. And one thing is I try to do business, and I have recently, all my business are done with people I want to do business with. That's the first criteria.
That's nice.
In corporate life, you don't have that alternative. So that's one of the vows I made. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's certainly a lot of reward. A lot of reward.
I think maybe now we've talked a little bit of background. We should go into some of the Winchester kind of issues. You've lived here in town for quite a few years. Your children went through the school system. Obviously, you were involved in the override. Before, and we're going to get onto that in a minute. But before we do that, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions about the town. You met. I know you, particularly recently, you've been meeting some of the people in town. How do you feel about? Have you met with, say, the town manager yet? Have you?
Well, the first thing, I've met with a lot of people. Most who I've never met before. Okay? And one thing that's striking about it, the town of Winchester is blessed with a lot of professionals. It's a little humbling. everybody that I meet spends a lot of time and a lot of effort, and a lot of it goes unknown, to the general public. So the first thing I think Winchester is blessed by this reservoir of talent that resides here.
Are you talking of town employees or the people who live in the town, the volunteers?
I'm talking about both, but the people I'm talking about on the planning committee, the finance committee.
Oh, yes.
Town employees. I'm just really impressed by their backgrounds and their experience. It's a good reservoir,
Right.
and so when you ask questions, you get really good, frank answers.
Yeah.
Okay. You might not like the answer, but you get a good,
Yeah.
true response, which I think is refreshing. As for the town manager, yes, I've had one meeting with.
He's fairly new here. I mean, he's
Yeah.
just getting his,
Right.
getting used to everything, I suppose, at this point.
Yeah, I do. I've seen him on TV a few times, and I'm quite impressed.
Yeah.
I really do think Mel has a good background. He speaks, when I met him, speaks very candidly, doesn't overpromise. He had, I think he really wants to succeed here, and I think that his choice as a town manager was excellent. I personally wouldn't want his job. I mean, I say that in all honesty. It's going to be a tough road for him to hold here, but I think he can do it. I think he's up to it.
He's certainly coming at a difficult time, I think, when a lot of changes ahead.
I think he's handled it quite well, though. You know, he's had some resistance from the selectmen in some of the meetings I watched on TV, and very professional and fought right. And I think he's got the areas that he wanted covered, so I give him credit.
I'm sure we'll get into more detail
Sure.
later, but when you say he's had some resistance, what did you have anything particularly in mind?
Well, I think, you know, it's common, at least what I see. I was going to say it's common knowledge. I don't know, maybe after I speak it'll be common knowledge. But the selectman in his first meeting, when he had his 4-point letter, he had a 4-point letter which he put out. And some of the selectmen said that they had a plan B, and they worked a lot on that plan B, and it was they would welcome his opinion, but the selectmen wanted the town to run with plan B. Now, my opinion is that they hired him. He's well qualified. They pay him a lot of money, and I think that Mel could. I think they got it reversed. I think he should get their recommendations and consider them, and then he should go about and do his job and forget about plan B.
Now, I may be wrong about this, but I
Sure.
think I read in the Winchester Star this week that in the most recent budget, he had said that he didn't want to second guess all the hard work that had gone into putting together Plan B. So maybe he's.
I think that I read the same thing, and but I wasn't there when he said it, so I don't know what happened before it or after.
Yeah.
But I think his job is really to use the resources available to him, and his job is to execute the plan, and the selectman's job is to help him manage that plan. He works for them, but they're there to help, not to direct.
Now, other important personages in the town. Have you met with the superintendent of schools, Dr. Marini?
I met with Dr. Marini just this week, and I've heard nothing but really good things about Dr. Marini. And in fact, you know, he's one of the reasons that everybody believes, and I believe, that the school system is in such great shape, despite being in such a financial bind as it has been for the last couple of years. But he's done a great job.
If you were to give him any advice, if you felt you could do it at this point in time, what would it be?
I gave him some advice, not advice, but some thoughts. I think that the one thing I think is work a lot closer with the town manager, okay, and a little less with the selectmen. That's one bug that I have. I also believe that the school system has done a tremendous job in educating the children, and I think that the only time that Dr. Marini really is in front of the cameras is with the selectmen asking, you know, for more funds to do the job he needs to do. I think that there should be more PR around the school system.
More PR around the school system?
Yeah, like, you know, visiting the classrooms, you know, WinCam might go in there, interview some teachers. I thought you did a great piece on the override when you were interviewing some of the teachers, and they were talking about their day-to-day problems and successes and so on. So I think the town would like to know more just than numbers, max score numbers, which are very impressive. But there's some, I also visited with Vandy French, and I was quite impressed how well McCall was run.
Right.
Had I not gone in the building and talked to him, I'd like to know more. And I'm sure the citizens of Winchester would like to see more
Sure,
of
well,
how
I'm
the
sure
money's
Vandy
going.
French would support Wyncombe getting more into the schools. He's quite active in
He's
Wyncombe.
a
Yeah.
tremendous principal.
Yeah.
Tremendous principal.
You know, the schools is obviously,
Mm-hmm.
that's the major part of the town's budget, but there are other departments too. There's the DPW, there's the fire, there's the police, there's the library. Have you any comments on any of those departments?
Of course, I think that the municipal function, the municipal side of the budget is about a third, and they're a little. I've been reading the finance reports. I haven't gotten around to visit some of those folks yet, but there's not a lot of re-engineering that you have to do in those groups. They run very well,
Right.
very professionally. There's little nits and gnats here and there, but there's nothing earth-shaking in there except, you know, I think we got, and Mel, I think knows it, we as a town have to get our arm around this healthcare issue.
Healthcare.
Healthcare, the funding of healthcare in the budget is a big number, and it's a potential, you know, crippling number for the town in '06 and '07 unless we get, you know, a plan to curtail its rising costs.
Because that's the thing that everybody's running up against, I think. I mean, healthcare costs, I mean, I read about that in the national newspapers.
Sure. It's going up and up, but, you know, in the private sector, there are plans, you know, and there are choices employees make, and some employees are very young and they don't want as much health care and they don't pay as much. Okay, some of my age want as much health care coverage as they possibly can get, so they pay a little more. Okay, so you have a menu. I think one of the things, I might misheard Mel, but I think he wants to get one provider, you know, for everybody in town, which I think is a good plan rather than having 2 or 3 different plans in town. I think all teachers, firemen, police, DPW, all should be under the same health care plan with the same schedule. But that's one of the big things Mel's going to have to work with. That's his.
One of the other issues in town at the moment is the transfer station. There's been quite a lot of discussion about what should happen there, whether we should go to curbside pickups. Also, there's the money that is coming back from Deswick. Have you any views about the transfer station?
Well, the transfer station...
you can call it the dump if you like.
No.
I always do.
Well, I go there every week, so I can call it the dump, I guess. But the transfer station, I believe, is a very economical way to run the trash removal in town.
So you like the way it is now?
You know, from a customer, consumer, citizen, I don't know the inner workings of it. I see some numbers. It looks directionally going in the right way based on the town meeting members' input and the finance group. But from a consumer's point of view, I liken it to Federal Express, you know, and we're the letters, you know, we're carrying our bundles down to the dump, or just like Federal Express, they send every letter to Memphis, and there it's distributed. I loan it. It's a good system, and you know, there are no numbers to support curbside. You know, I haven't seen anything financially, and I think you know, if you get rid of the dump and you have curbside, maybe the first or second year it might look attractive. But I've lived in a lot of communities. One thing I didn't cover, I've moved 6 or 7 times early in life with the Marine Corps and business, and you know, you might get into curbside and all of a sudden your rates go up, and you have no backup plan with the dump. So until I see some real numbers, I'm very happy with the transfer.
There's a whole host of issues in this town. I'll mention a few, and if any of them kind of appeal to you, you can talk about that. Winning Farm, flooding, library hours. You mentioned healthcare costs, affordable housing, town plan. Are any of those issues that you care to comment on at this point?
No, they're all striking issues. Okay. I think one of the toughest or the most provocative issue is Winning Farm. Okay, and I've read a lot about it and talked to a lot of people, and I'll just say this about that. Okay, first of all, whoever went out and bought 44 acres for $1.2 million I'd like to start a business with that person. Okay. And then the town meeting members, I think it was back in 1996, I commend them for voting, 4 articles that were, I think, unanimous, 187 to 0, something like that. So, to do something with the properties. However, now it's in the hands of the court. I think it's a second appeal, something like that. And that's, where it sits right now. My just a recommendation, it's an idea that'll be kicked back, but I think that it'd be nice if you brought it back to town meeting members again. The economy has changed since 1996. I think the town meeting members have changed since 1996, not all of them, okay, but some of them. And just bring the whole thing back and relook at it and let the town meeting members take another shot at it, see what can be done. That's
You think there might be some additional money there that we might pick up in the town?
I think, as I said, the 1996 and
Yeah,
205,
yeah.
I think the property in Winchester has gone up slightly. I'm not positive, but
Yeah.
he said tongue in cheek.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, I think so. That with Winning Farm, that's something that I would do. As for the money coming back into the town, the $700,000 or $1 million, whatever the right number is.
From the Neswick?
Yeah, right. It should go back to the town meeting members because they could that's where it belongs, first of all. And then the town meeting members could prioritize, the projects that need to be done and voted on. And that's where, and it could be done right now, okay? That's where the Mel would go, the town manager would go with his list, and hopefully selectmen, and any other citizen that wanted to bring something forward, town meeting meeting. And then that money could be, with the endorsements of the budget committee or the finance committee, that could be endorsed, and the money could go where the people want it to go first. And I think, I heard Mel write in the paper that the transfer station needed some funding. Well, if that made the top of the list, that'd be great. But it's up to the town meeting member.
I just want to get, because we got to decide whether we want to vote for you as
Right.
well. So what do you think of WinCam? Got any views on this WinCam organization?
Well, I'm going to be nice prior to the edit and not that nice after the edit. I think that WinCam is an underutilized vehicle in the town. I'll tell you why. I think that most of the problems, not problems, but yeah, I guess most of the divisiveness in the town is around no information. I mean, it's available, but it's not readily available to the citizens of the town. And when you don't have the right information, or you don't know how well the schools are being run, or what the fire chief is doing, or what the flood plan is, or whatever it is, and that's the role I think WinCam could play. Just get up close and personal. Maybe that's what you're doing today, but I think if we just saw more of that, then people would, would come forward with some ideas.
Well, we certainly want to do that because we're a fairly low-budget operation, and when there's a certain threats from these Verizon coming in, and whether the funding will continue. But we are trying to train up more producers and get more programs out. But let's turn back to the override issue
Sure.
now.
Okay.
That was a pretty divisive kind of thing in town when it occurred,
Right.
and
Still is.
one of the things that we noticed here at WinCam was it was quite difficult, certainly in the previous campaign, to get anybody to come and speak out against the override. And you stepped forward and you spoke up against it. Now, have you any feeling about why it is that people are so reluctant to speak out against the override?
Some might have been out of town, some might have traveled, but I think really there was a sense prior to the override going down that people feel a little threatened, to be honest with you. I'm here, I'm talking to...
Threatened?
Not threatened physically, but just threatened psychologically or whatever. People just don't want to go through, the motions of going up against certain programs in town.
Right.
That's the real answer,
Right.
okay? That's what I hear.
It's always difficult to speak out against spending things which are kind of quite nice things to do. But
I think all the spending that's being done in town is spent for the right way, Okay, it really is. We have to have security. We have to have proper fire and police. We need the best schools. The town of Winchester is really the jewel of Massachusetts, okay? It sits in the right area. It's got the right people. It's one of the smallest towns in Massachusetts. It's just getting our arms around the budget and communicating, like I said, to the people, telling them what's going on. And I think if I step forward and other people step forward, as I told you, the talent in this town is unlimited. And I think it won't continue. I think there'll be more people like myself coming forward. And you probably have to shoo people out of here after a year or two. You know, you'll have them queued around the building to talk about different stuff. But I think that what's going on with the override and the budget and the stuff in the newspaper and people finding out information, eventually, it's very hard, definitely very hard, but I think eventually it's going to be very good for the town of Winchester.
You've spoken of cutting costs. Is there anything specific that you might, you had mentioned healthcare. Is that the area you were thinking of for cutting costs, or other things?
Well, we're not going to get through I agree with what Mel said. We're not going to get through the budget crisis in 05, 06 and by being more efficient in cutting. But I think, I think the way the school committee or whoever put the school budget together went about it was terribly wrong. You know, they got an 8% increase in your special ed budget, which is 25% of your budget. You have health care, which is double digit. You know, you cannot fund these type of programs and expect to, with only 2.5% or 3% in the budget. I mean, it's just impossible. So I think not recognizing those upfront and dealing with those upfront makes the rest of your budget very precarious. So
right.
I think it's about listening to the finance committee's recommendation. It was all published prior to the budget being issued. But you know, I believe a lot of people were counting on the override, and the people, just be honest with you, are taxed to the max. They just can't get there anymore.
Right.
So it has to be done another way.
Right. Just want to be clear about your position on the override.
Sure.
Do you believe that it's possible for the town to survive without an override, or do you feel you just want to get things organized in a different way so that later on, when additional money comes in, we'll spend it better?
Okay, I think that I'm not in favor of another override. Okay,
you're not in favor of another override.
Okay.
Not now, not ever, or
I think if the town manager and everybody came forward and said they did everything they possibly could, and we closed the holes in the pipe, you know, such as healthcare and tightening down some budget areas that need tightening down, and everything was done then, and we still needed more money to continue the quality of life we have, then I'd be in favor of an override. But I'm not going to have an override just that it's a general fund, just to fund a plan that has no end, okay, with no end game. So I think the reason I ran for selectman, I hope everybody gets out there March 29th and votes, is to make sure that the plan is accurate and that people know what's going on in the town. They get the information on a timely basis, okay? So my point is, once everything is tightened down, Mel's in his job for, you know, a year or two or so on, and we get the right information out, I'm all for an override if needed.
Very good. Well, we are running out of time. I think we've covered most of the issues that I wanted to cover, but I'll let you have the last word. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
There's one thing. I think that, I thank the people who went out and voted either yes or no on the last override. It was a terrible night and a terrible day to have it, but
yes, it was.
A lot of people did participate. As I said before, we didn't win anything. You know, we just stopped the train for a while to take a look at the track. And I think that this March 29th election is very important, and I hope everybody who voted that day gets out, plus an additional 1,000 or 2,000 people. Not only for myself, but the town meeting members. This is this is all about town meeting, this town, and there are a lot of folks running for town meeting members. Take the time to look at the list prior to getting there. maybe find out a little something about the town meeting member in your area. And I think it's a very important election, and I hopefully the interested people, will get out and vote.